Good afternoon. Great to see you. What an amazing job you did in this, Ciara. I want to talk to you about how you channeled Wendy Williams. We've all heard her, we've all watched her, but I think you nailed her.
Well, thank you. And nice to meet everyone. Thank you all so much for having me. And yeah, I hope everyone's doing okay today. Um, Channeling Wendy Williams, there was, what's the simplest answer I could give? Because it's so layered, right? I mean, Wendy Williams, we see her on TV. We've heard her back in the day on the radio. So, she's definitely a familiar voice and a familiar face. So, that's where I had to start from, right? I was pulling up, YouTube videos, just trying to find whatever I could to just kind of like embody who this woman is. And then I got the chance to speak with her over the phone, a few weeks before we started filming. And I think that that's where a lot of the pieces started to click. I mean, I went into it on the phone call, like having, questions to ask her. But after a while, I just wanted to just sit back and just kind of absorb her and take her in and just listen to her. So, I would ask her, questions in relation to the movie and certain circumstances. And she would just, riff and just go on and tell me about, what those experiences were personally like for her. And then, slowly after that, or I would say, soon after that, I just started to get a totality of just who this woman is and an understanding of her. And so like a lot of these pieces just started coming together. And I just started to see her more as just the human, Wendy Williams, and kind of taking away all of that stuff that we see on TV and that we hear on the radio, but like really filling in the blanks of who this woman is. And so, so it was pieces of that, and then, pieces of my own personal background and my personal history. And then, I have an aunt, her name's Kathy, my Aunt Kathy, who has a lot of shades of Wendy as well. And so, I kind of drew from her and had some conversation with her, especially when it came up around, talking about miscarriages. I know my Aunt Kathy had some really traumatic events around that as well. And so a lot of it was just pulling from my personal story, from women that I knew, and also pulling from Wendy Williams. And then by the time I got up to Vancouver, I felt like I had a good grasp of her. But then when I was sitting in my hotel room all by myself for 2 weeks, I had no choice but to like fully absorb and soak in Wendy Williams. And that's what I did. And so yeah, and thank goodness for Darren Grant and Shayla and Sheila, the producers of the movie. They allowed me to just be in, full character the whole time, even on camera and off camera. And that was really helpful to have that. So it was a lot of things. I mean, doing my research, but also tapping into her energy and her psyche and my own, experience. It all just came together to creating this character on screen. So,
when I watched it, I thought, okay, this is why we experience what we do with Wendy. And you portrayed her so well. What was the most chilling scene to shoot that actually stuck with you, that you probably won't forget from the script or the movie itself?
There were so many. Because it's just, with Wendy Williams, you don't imagine that she went through any of that stuff and that she sustained so long. And so, and it's just so, like, again, it's just so layered, from the miscarriages to, the relationship, the drug use. I mean, all of those scenes none of it was easy at all to film and to just live and step into. And, I just remember, filming some of the drug scenes and how challenging that was for me, and chilling, for me, because I have a different experience with that on the other side, of my father struggling with substance abuse and being a child growing up around that. And also being a child that used to go to AA and NA meetings with my father and listen to other reformed addicts talk about their rock bottoms. And I always had a lot of compassion and empathy for my father's situation, and a lot of people that have gone through that. But I also have my judgments around it too, as we all do, and so to live in a character's shoes and also to live in Wendy Williams' shoes, doing that stuff, it kind of filled in a lot of just questions around it for me personally, like, what drives a person to go to that extent, and what the drug really represents to them. It's a confidence boost. It's a crutch. It's a coping mechanism. It's all those things. And I just remember the first time that we filmed one of those scenes, I just felt this wave of just shame and disgust just come over me. And I was like, wow, like, I'm sure that's how my father felt every time he did that, or maybe that's how Wendy felt every time she did that. So, those scenes, they were hard, and I hated the feeling of putting the powder in my nose. It was all fake, none of it real. I hated it. It was so just, it was hard, but it also just gave me a whole different perspective. And it just made me want to just grab my father and just hug him so tight, and also, hold and hug Wendy as well, because that stuff is serious, but yeah, Wendy, her story, it took me all the way there, from the sexual assault, to, again, the infidelity and the miscarriage, like all of those things, just, and I had no other choice but to really go there and make it as raw and as real and connected as possible. So.
Hey guys, thank you for having us. For both Ciara and Morocco, I really wanted to know what it was like portraying this relationship that kind of played out so publicly and that had so many opinions, and knowing that it was kind of in your hands to tell this story just accurately and in an authentic way. What was that like, playing off of each other?
All right. Well, Morocco and I this is our first time working with each other, and, we got to have that whole 2-week quarantine thing. So we had a chance to do a couple Zoom meetings, prior to getting on set. And one of the big things that we spoke about with this relationship is that, without a doubt, there had to be some love there, at the beginning, at least. We got to see, the world got to see the public fallout, over the last 3 years. You get on, social media or, the internet and Google certain things here and there. But we don't know what these people were like, in their personal lives. And so we just wanted to be really respectful and just, mindful of the fact that these are, two people who happen to be married and happen to be married in this entertainment industry, which presents all kinds of challenges, with it. And so at the end of the day, regardless of what is being, released, on the news outlets, or even, from Wendy's mouth, we just wanted to be really mindful and respectful and just show the love and just show that, like, no matter what, that these people have gone through, or whatever, outside influences entered into the marriage, that there is still some love there, because they loved each other enough to bring a son into the world. And so all of that just took, we took all that into consideration. And we also took, Wendy's son into consideration. At the end of the day, we know that this is, Wendy's story, but, it's also her family story as well. And so we just wanted to be as mindful and respectful of that, given the fact that we don't know these people personally and haven't spent enough time around these people personally. So, yeah.
Thank you.
I agree with what Ciara said. And the way the script is constructed, you see this love affair. These two people fall in love. So it was important for us to build that love up, because once you build it up and then you see it crumble, then it's like this greater payoff, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. So I was, when I was doing my research, I was just writing down all the attributes that Wendy had, what I loved about her. And then as the movie went on, or as the scenes went on, why am I stepping out the way what am I doing and why am I doing what I do? You know what I mean? So as an actor, you're trying to find out why, you know, what am I fighting for? What do I want? How do, you know, so it was just doing that. And, you know, and Ciara is masterful with her work. So it was easy to ride with her. And I was just basically trying to tell the truth and show this love story and not have any judgment of the character of like, oh, I'm playing the bad guy. It's like, no, I'm playing a man who fell in love with this incredible woman. And then I started making mistakes. Then I had to make up the reason of why I was making these mistakes, why I wasn't coming home, why I wasn't doing. So, and it was important for me not to play the end, you know, just live in that moment and tell the truth.
So my question is for both Ciara and Morocco. Wendy's mentioned a few times on her show about the filming in Vancouver and the safety protocols that were put in place and having to stop and start filming. So my question to both of you is, what was that experience like for you filming an entire movie during COVID?
What was it like filming an entire movie during COVID? That was your, sorry, I just like broke out a little bit. So
Yes, that's correct, yes.
all right. Do you want to go first, Morocco?
You go ahead. Go ahead.
Or any challenges that you all faced during filming?
You know, I was very, very, very blessed and very fortunate to have had the experience of filming already during COVID, because I had wrapped season 2 of The Oval prior to coming on to Wendy Williams. I was at Tyler Perry Studios. We were filming season 2 of The Oval, his show on BET. And, you know, all of that going into that situation was so scary because we just didn't know, you know, this virus is out there. We didn't want to get sick. We wanted to be sure to be healthy so we can all work. And it was such a smooth and easy, you know, like situation. I mean, we're getting tested every 4 days. We were in quarantine. We were in a bubble. So I kind of already was, you know, prepped for that, you know, wearing the mask before going on camera, you know, socially distant. I mean, because whenever you're filming and you're, you know, working, I mean, it's a very intimate experience. You know, you got a lot of people around you, cameras close, like you can't, it's hard to try to do all of those things with the safety protocols, but we did that, you know, during The Oval. And then going to Vancouver, you know, a city that had a really great grasp of how they handle, you know, the virus and all of their safety protocols in general, just felt really, you know, like a breeze. It felt really easy. I felt so safe the whole time when I got on set. I mean, everybody, Lifetime, I think by that time had already filmed a couple projects. So that particular production company, Front Street, they already had all of their systems in place of you know, all of the protocols and everything. And you know, it was a breeze dealing with that. I mean, it's definitely different, you know. I mean, you can't hug the hair and makeup people, or you know, you can't be all you know, chatty in each other's faces all the time. Like you got to do the 6 feet, wear the mask, all that stuff. But yeah, it was pretty cool. And it's definitely a new way of working and filming now. And you know, we did it. We got through it. So
yeah, Canada, they took care of us. They really take it seriously. You know, the whole quarantining for 14 days, they were serious about it. Everybody was masked up. So at some point you're like, oh, I forgot it was COVID up here. You know what I mean? Because it was just so laid back, but everybody was following the guidelines. So it was easy.
My first question is for Ciara, and then my second question is for Rocco. Ciara, this is considered a role of a lifetime, and I would like to know what resonated with you when you were first tapped to play someone as iconic as Wendy Williams, who is pretty much, you know, a cultural figure in terms of media. She is the queen of all media.
I think the first thing that stood out to me, during the interview process, during the audition process, some of the audition scenes had to do with some of the more traumatic experiences. And so just kind of going into the audition, knowing that before reading the script, I just was like, dang, I mean, this woman, you get the sense like she's lived, but you're like, she's really lived, and she's still here. And she's still, coming back strong, fierce each and every time. And so that stood out to me. And that just, for me, I just related to it hardcore because, there's so many, experiences I've had in this business and also prior to getting into this business that have knocked the wind out of me and have knocked me down. And, they're all very sacred and personal to me, but somehow, some way I found the strength to just get back up and keep going. And I saw that in Wendy. And, it's like, it's weird because, it's not that you wouldn't think that someone like her has gone through things, but it's just the way that she just comes back each and every time. The most, just the most amazing and beautiful thing about her. And so the minute I read that script and the minute that I got those audition sides, and I was like, all right, I'm not dealing with no little, cheerleader role or whatever. Like I'm about to really step, the real deal and really get to, for me as a woman, like step into my womanhood by playing this role. And so, and show that, show all facets of that as well. So, that's what stood out to me. And I was like, there is no way in the world I'm going to let this role go.
That's amazing. That's amazing. What did portraying Wendy Williams teach you about yourself, Ciara?
Taught me that I'm way stronger than I thought that I was. And it taught me that I learned that it is okay to be seen, that it's you have some light and it's okay to share your light. And it's okay when people don't appreciate that light too. So those are all the things that I learned and so much more. I mean, it gets me a little choked up, and it's very sacred as well. But yeah, I learned a lot from that experience.
Ciara, we're all so proud of you. Portraying Wendy is huge. It's epic. It's one for the culture, and we are rooting for you to win with this film. Congratulations, and all the best. Portraying Wendy Williams, the queen of all media. All the best to you.
I wanted to ask, what was the most memorable scene that you actually filmed and the one that you resonated with the most? To both of you guys.
All right, Rock, you got to take this one.
I mean, what was the first part of that question?
What was the scene that you filmed that stood out the most in your mind, and which one did you resonate with the most? Which scene did you, were you able to really tap in?
I'm going first, Ciara?
Yeah, go first. Come on, baby, come on.
I think when the doctor told Wendy that the baby was stillborn, that was a heavy day. Just to live in that and to get that news, and we had to do that take over and over again. And it acting is great, just don't get caught doing it. So when you live in it and you're telling the truth, it exhausts you. It exhausts mentally, physically, spiritually. It takes, because the brain believes what you tell it. So you're just like, my wife, my baby, and you just give me this news. So that for me was just, I don't know how many takes because we had to get our coverage, my coverage, Ciara's coverage, the doctor's coverage. So let's say at least 20 takes on that right there. And, you know, by the end of the night, I think I told my driver, I said, yo, stop at the liquor store. And I grabbed me 2 bottles of wine, and I was just double fisted. I was just like, I just got to sit down, man. It was like, you know, fighting Muhammad Ali for 15 rounds on that one. The scene that resonated most for me was at the end of the movie when Wendy takes her power back. I go and visit her in the halfway house. And she just basically just, you know, I have to listen, and I have to, you know, you have to relinquish the power that he had over her. And she stood up to me. So that resonated most to me, because inside any relationship, there's always this power struggle. There's this love, and there's this, you know, there's this love, there's this hate, there's this, you know, there's public life and private life, and it gets really ugly. And, you know, me and Ciara had to go to some really ugly places, and we had to expose our soul in front of, you know, the crew and the cast, but now to be, you know, to millions. So it's a very, I don't know, when yeah, as actors, we you know, you're a character, but yeah, but I'm living in it. So for me, that scene, that last scene we have together resonate, because I know, you know, when a woman is done, you know, when a woman's done, she's just like, no, it's cool. No, it's all right. Okay. No, it's fine. And you know it's over. So I knew it was over. You know, in that moment, so it resonated with me. Sorry, that scene there. Ciara, your turn.
Both of those were powerful scenes, and you definitely did an amazing job. Ciara, same question.
Yeah, I'm gonna piggyback off of that. I mean, they were both, you know, really just heartfelt, hard scenes. You know, that one in particular with the day of, you know, with the baby being stillborn. I mean, the crazy thing about the whole experience of doing a film and doing a TV show is that it's never shot linearly. You know, it's not a linear thing. Like, you're not doing page 1, you know, on day 1 and 2. And, you know, it's never like that. Like, you're going from, okay, now we're doing the party scene to now your baby's being stillborn. Or, you know, now you're in love with your husband, but now you're finding out he's with the mistress, you know? So you're kind of going through this whole like emotional roller coaster and mental manipulation of your body and your mind to kind of switch off and turn on gears to play these different scenes. And so I remember particularly in that day, it was just, it was really hard and emotionally just taxing. But, you know, I gotta say, and you know, I'm a person of faith, and I don't want to make anybody uncomfortable in this, but I just got to say that, you know, God definitely had his hand on this whole production. And there were just moments where I felt like, you know, so out of my body, but also just so supported. And in that scene in particular that Morocco was talking about, finding out the baby was stillborn and having to, you know, cry, you know, and you know, hear the news again over and over and over between each take. You know, there's a young woman in the scene. She plays a nurse, and I just looked at her, and all of a sudden, like, she just looked like my little cousin Devin, who, you know, is one of the most sweetest, angelic people you'll ever meet. And I just was like, all right, God, I see what you're doing right now, you know. And so through all of that, I just felt so supported, and you know, it didn't matter how raw the emotions were, you know, I just felt that I was safe and taken care of, you know, mentally and emotionally throughout that whole process. So yeah, and then, you know, with the other scene that Morocco brought up too, you know, that resonated with me was the last scene, you know, where Wendy stands up. I mean, I don't know, ladies. I mean, I don't know about y'all, but I've had a Kevin in my life. And so that one was for the Kevins. And so if I had that opportunity to say those words to that person, you know, yeah, I would have totally done that. But it was great to be able to be in the shoes of a character and speak those words and speak those words from experience. And yeah, and from that emotional standpoint. So
how's it going? My question is for Ciara. What advice did Wendy give you going into production that made filming a smooth transition?
the advice she gave me was no matter what, just be confident. She was like, she said, that's what my whole thing is about, is keeping my head up high, shoulders back, chest out. And I censor this part, but she says an F them all. And so that's what I went in, you know, feeling that, knowing that, and embracing that. And yeah, I think I hope I did that. I hope I served that up.
So my question is for you, Ciara. What would you say? I don't want to say was the most difficult part of portraying Wendy Williams, but what would you say was like that one part that you just had to keep working on to make sure that you got her down to the T?
I mean, honestly, all of it, you know, all of it. Especially, again, I just go back to the fact that she's such a well-known person and has such a huge fan base, and you know, people watch her every single day. So that is like just so much pressure. But I think the scene that I probably studied the most was the Statue of Liberty scene. I mean, I wanted to just try to get it frame by frame, beat by beat, when the hands go up, when the eyes blink, when the mouth closes, when she falls, when she breathes, like
ooh, details. Yes.
Okay. Now we got, okay, you know, so that's what I worked on pretty much every day up until we shot that scene. So
wow. Well, I definitely can tell you studied your craft because you did great. So kudos to you. Kudos to you both. You both did an amazing job. So thank you.